Hello everyone, very good evening. This is Syed Mazhar, Chair for the IOSH UAE branch, and on behalf of my committee, I welcome you to another exciting event, which is the Leading Wellbeing Alongside the Health and Safety. Today we got Karen with us. This is the second time she is our speaker, and we're very thankful to her. Before we start, please bear with the ground rules. The event will be recorded. Please keep your mics on silent mode. If you got any questions or any queries or any suggestion, please write down in the chat box. And at the end of the session, all of the queries will be answered accordingly. So not to waste your time further, I would like to request Karen to come and take the platform and continue this event. Thank you very much, all of you.
Hi, everyone. I'm just going to share my screen.
I'll confirm, no worries. Go ahead, please.
Okay, just doing that now. Can you all see my screen?
Great, yeah, clear.
Yeah, you can hear me okay?
Yep.
Fantastic. Okay. Hi, everyone. I don't know how many people are out there, but I know that we met a few months ago at a previous meeting, and I'm absolutely delighted that I got invited back. So hopefully I did something good first time round, and now I'm under pressure to achieve the same standard. So let's cross our fingers. So when I was here last time, I talked about the Bill Busbake formula from my book, People Power. So really about health and safety and how do we make it engaging and sustainable. This time, I'm going to slightly change the slant, and I'm going to talk about how to lead health and safety alongside well-being, because I know a lot of people that work in health and safety will have had well-being added to their remit. And it's also a really big topic all over the world, issues with well-being arising. So I'm guessing it's something that's on your radar. So before I start, I just want to ask a question. So because there are so many of us, I think there are a lot of us, what I'm going to do is when I ask a question, see if you can put the reply on the chat, and I will find the chat. So here is the question. So how many of you are having to lead health and safety and well-being? So just put a yes on the chat if that is you. So are you leading just in health and safety, or health, safety and well-being? Quite a few yeses. I'm guessing there's a lot of yeses, otherwise you wouldn't be here. You'd be busy doing something else, like going to the beach or something. Oh no, I forgot you work on Sundays, don't you? Yeah, so we've got a lot of yeses here. Great, okay. So we're all in the right place. So I have a second question for you. So what worries you most about it? So let's be open and honest. I mean, that's a well-being issue in itself, worrying about something, isn't it? So we certainly don't want our own well-being to be impacted, but what worries you most? Okay, so one is just leading health, safety, but not well-being. So just put on the chat, what's your biggest concern about having to lead health, safety and well-being at the same time? Yeah, where to start, slacking safety culture. There was another one there. So this is great on the chat. Staff behavior, job insecurity. Fantastic. People don't approach. This is brilliant. Well-being not addressed adequately by management. Having to control behavior of a lot of people, management commitment, employee health matters, not enough awareness. This is absolutely amazing. And you'll see why, because I took a guess, you see, on what might be on your mind for this question. Management need production, self and organizational assessment, zero budget. Oh, that's a good one. There's never any budget, is there, for these things? Behavioral safety. Okay, shall I show you what I thought would worry you most? Integration of health and safety and well-being with business. Okay, so let's have a look. So this is what I thought. Or dealing with various types of people. We're still going. Safety is considered secondary importance. Yeah. Okay. Management just need HSC and documents. Yeah, so kind of a tick box. So here is what I put. I'm just going to put the chat to one side. So I thought this is why you might be concerned. Already overloaded with work, maybe. So you're thinking well-being is just one extra thing I've got to do. What else? Oh, lack of resources. Yeah. Safety is the more imminent risk. So this is really tricky because often well-being issues take a long time to surface. But safety you have to deal with now because somebody could get hurt right now. Language barriers I'm seeing as well. Well-being belongs to human resources. So maybe, although health and safety is a people issue, well-being feels like it's even more of a people issue. So maybe we don't feel qualified. It's a complex topic and I don't know where to start. Can you explain the difference, health and well-being? Yeah, so I'm going to do that. That was Mohammed. Yep. Challenging job to implement well-being, lack of awareness on stakeholders. Wow, you guys are really awake this afternoon. I'm impressed. And then it's too big, maybe. Who would like a dedicated team for well-being? Anyone got one? It doesn't fit with health and safety. Maybe it feels like there's something different about it, or the company doesn't care enough about it. Okay, so that was my guess before. I was thinking last night, sat thinking what would be on their mind. So it looks like we're thinking roughly the same for some of it. So one of you asked, what's the difference between health and well-being? So let's look at how we're defining it. Anyone want to have a go? How do you define well-being? Anyone want to put something on the chat? How do you define well-being? State of mind, well-being, mental health, related to the workplace. Yeah, physical and mental health, physical and mental work-life balance. Yeah, I think all of this is well-being, really good. So there are many definitions of well-being. So there's no right or wrong answers here, but I'm going to give you 3 ideas that you can link together for well-being. So if you look at individual well-being, just arrange my screen a little bit. So we can look at it from a human being point of view, which we're going to do. We can look at it from a company perspective and also from it's called a whole person perspective. If you Google it, it'll be whole person approach, whole person well-being. So from an individual perspective, whether we're at work or not, I really like this definition. I don't know if anyone's heard of it, but the New Economics Foundation did some research about 5 years ago, maybe longer than that. And they said there were 5 ways to well-being. So number 1 was to connect with people. So I guess we're doing that now. By the fact we're on this Zoom call, we're connecting with people. Being active. So we would have to be running around or doing some kind of sport. Taking notice means being mindful. So maybe going out for a walk where it's silent, looking at nature. Keep learning. So we're doing that right now. And number 5 is giving. So small acts of kindness. So in terms of their definition of well-being, we are doing 2 of those right now. I think I'm going to tick 3 of those right now for me because I'm giving as well. But you're all actually giving of your knowledge on the chat. So we're all going to tick 3 of those. Does that make sense? Just give me a little sign because I can't see you anymore. So feel free to put something on the chat. And then if we look at the company approach, yeah, being active, says Bijou. So risk-based approach. So I don't know, are any of you working with ISO 45003 or thinking about it? The new standard for, so the new standard for psychological health and safety. Syed is nodding, so I'm hoping this rings a bell. So basically we take what we already know about health and safety, about doing a risk-based approach, and we apply it to psychological health and safety. And then we've got the whole person approach where we're looking at physical health, psychological health. We're looking at the environment people are in as well, social, how they get together, and economic. So how much money do we have? How are we managing our money? Do we feel comfortable with our finances? So if you look at all of that, you can see that if we really want to manage well-being, we have to look at all of that, which is quite a lot there. So you've got, how are we well as human beings? How can we take a preventive risk-based approach? And also there, how do we take a whole person approach? So some companies are just going for some parts. I would say very few are going for all of them. So that's roughly how I would define it. And then, so let's look at, because we talked earlier on about, you know, getting the resources. As health and safety professionals, we have a challenge of getting company resources, getting management commitment. So what are you focused on right now? So in your work, just write on the chat, what are you focused on for health and safety only, not well-being, just health and safety. Okay, so we've got wellness of human. Yeah, so how people feel. Anything else? What's your biggest focus? If you had to put some words to describe what your focus at work is, workplace injury. Yeah. Thanks, Saeed. Oh, Wahid as well. Mohammed, legal requirements plus, yeah, legal requirements, mental issues. Yeah, zero incidents, proactive approach, risk assessment, hazard, compliance, health surveys. Brilliant. Okay. So I'm going to show you how I would sum it up. So compliance is probably a big word beginning with C. Actually, culture, Amar has just said culture as well. So that's a good one. Care. I think the first person that went on the chat talked about the wellness of humans. So we're looking about compliance with the rules. What are the procedures? Yeah, Syed says we're more focused on, I guess, safety and less on mental health. So compliance, care, maybe getting a sense of community, getting people together to keep people safe. And also communication. Communication, whether you think about it or not, is a big part of what you do. So I would call them the 4 C's. Okay. So this is what the kind of things you're focused on. And then just look at what's the company focused on. So do you want to just stick on the chat? What is the company focused on? What is your company focused on? Project, progress. Ah, words beginning with P. I like this. And you'll see why. Production, targets, profit. Yeah, so it kind of sounds, yeah, depending on the company, of course, Mohammed, yeah. Kind of sounds completely different to what we're focusing on as health and safety professionals. So let's have a look at that. So I've got 4 P's for this: productivity, performance, profit, costs, and profile as well. So reputation. Company needs a good reputation to get more business. So I've called them the 4 P's. And then success really is bringing the two together, because as health and safety professionals, if we can't show that what we're doing is good for the business, then we're not going to have much success. And I see Amara's got some more C's: competence, commitment, control. I might take those, Amar. Brilliant. Okay. I'll take them for my next presentation. So let's look at these side by side. So health and safety, we're focused on compliance, care, community, communication. I'll add in those 3: competence, commitment, control. The business, productivity, performance, profit, and profile. So if we can somehow bring these together, it's going to make our job a bit easier. And you'll see where I'm going with this, because I'm going towards well-being here. So success is about bringing all of the stakeholders together as well. You need to sell. Anyone feel like they are a salesperson for health and safety? Just give me a sign. Okay, I see some good stuff on the chat. So I'll show you what I mean here. So as we've got well-being added to our remit as well, we really need to be able to sell, but we can't do it on our own. So sometimes you may feel a bit like you're on your own for health and safety. Anyone feel lonely sometimes? Like maybe you're trying to do the right thing for the people on the site, doing the right thing for the company. Yeah, good. Not just me then. Sometimes we feel lonely. So I've got some good news. We don't need to do it alone, okay? So we have what I'm going to call touch points here for health, safety, and well-being. So here we've got the first topic, health and safety. We're adding well-being onto it as well. Diversity and inclusion. So I don't know how big this topic is in the Middle East, but it's definitely a big global issue. Is anyone aware that diversity and inclusion is a topic for management? Just give me a yes if you're aware of it in your company. Yeah, yeah. So, and you'll see why I'm talking about diversity and inclusion in a minute, because it's another people issue. And then engagement. So here's another people issue. So for most global companies, these are the four big issues. We've got sustainability as well, but we only got health and safety, well-being, diversity and inclusion, and engagement. So you've got the health and safety people managing the health and safety, but now we're also being asked to do well-being as well. You've got human resources. They've also got a stake in well-being and in diversity and inclusion. And then you've got the communications teams who've got a stake in diversity and inclusion and engagement. So what's the common denominator here? What's the common denominator in these four issues? Health and safety, well-being, diversity and inclusion, and engagement. What is the common denominator? People. Yes, you can have a prize, Abdul. Yes. I can't see you. I hope you're smiling because I can only see my face and Amir's at the moment. Okay, so common denominator is people. So I'm going to stick people power in there. So why are we as health and safety professionals struggling all alone on an issue which is a people issue, when actually we've got people that can help? We've got human resources also trying to do their thing, communications trying to do their thing, communications are trying to engage people as well. So the solution, this is what I'm going to propose. So the company needs one people-focused strategy based on caring, welfare, and prevention in partnership with HR, comms, and operations. So who has friends in HR and comms? Because this is going to be important. Does anyone have any friends in human resources and communications? Yes? Great, because we might need these friends. I have many, says Amir. Fantastic. Okay. So I'm hoping this is going to make sense. But if it's just one strategy and you can share the costs, so what you're trying to do for health and safety and well-being, the costs are shared across these other stakeholders, it's going to mean you're going to reduce your budget. And also the benefits are going to be wider because what you're doing is going to impact other areas like well-being, engagement, diversity and inclusion and sustainability. So you're going to save the company money and your impact is wider. So it makes sense to partner up, particularly now you have well-being as well, with the other people in the business that are focused on people. And it means your job gets easier because there are strengths in numbers. So if you ever feel like you're alone, if you can team up with people that have that also want an impact on people? HR are nobody's friend. They could be. They could be. Okay. So your mission. So I'm going to challenge you. Has anyone seen the film Mission Impossible? I can't remember the theme tune. Has anyone seen Mission Impossible with Tom Cruise? Yes. Okay. So we might just make this Mission Impossible possible. If you choose to accept it, you could say, no, this is Sunday. I'm not going to do this. So upgrade your selling skills. So even if you feel people are not on the same page as you, see if you can find out who else might be interested in health and safety and well-being. And I'm going to show you a diagram which might help you sell it. So approach any friends you have in HR, communications and operations, get them together, build a joint and company-wide approach based on caring that boosts business productivity, performance, profits and profile. Remember I said that was the 4 things companies are looking for: productivity, performance, profits and profile. And find the win-win. Talk about what you want and what you need and what they want, and look for what you have in common. So what do health and safety and well-being incidents have in common? And what common set of behaviors will prevent both? Okay. So you may look at going through all the serious incidents that you have for health and safety, and maybe the well-being incidents as well, and see what is common. So let's compare. So if you've got a safety incident, what's the biggest challenge with your safety incidents? Let's say you had a really serious safety incident or a near miss, and you went through the investigation report. What's normally going wrong, would you say? What kind of behaviors are causing serious safety incidents? Suicides, yeah, that is a mental health incident. Afraid of the truth, physical hazard, lack of facilities. Yeah, so sometimes it's not easy when it's things out of your control. Trauma, haste, yeah. Complacency. So some of these things are going to be common with well-being and mental health and safety. So this is why if you can team up with HR and communications and operations. So here's 3 behaviors typically that might help. So with any kind of incident, whether it's a safety incident or a mental health incident, the more you can prepare, the better, to get people thinking about, what do I need to do to be safe in this job? And what do I need to do to be well in this job? Number 2 is follow. So what procedure do I need to follow to be safe in this job and to be well in this job? And number 3 is challenge. So if somebody is unsafe or somebody doesn't look well, we feel able to speak out and challenge. And that challenge, I know, is a really difficult one, particularly in your part of the world, that people might have a fear of speaking out. So this is where it's really important to work on psychological safety and cross-cultural awareness, which are things that HR communications can also help you with. So the more you can work on psychological safety, does anyone know what psychological safety is? So psychological safety is where you feel comfortable being yourself and speaking out. And it's also in the remit of HR and communications. It's in everyone's interest to have psychological safety and cross-cultural awareness that you can encourage people to challenge. So what I've done is I've gone through all of the safety incidents in your company, all of the mental health incidents, and I've found 3 behaviors that would make a difference. And these are the 3 that I've got here. And so this diagram here that I'm going to finish with is the one that I would show to management, which I think sums it up really. So let's imagine your management, and I'm talking to you now. I'm going to say in your business, you've got a lot of people. They could be safe, well, happy and engaged, or they could be not safe, not feeling well, not happy and not engaged. And this is the difference. So this is a bit like a cause and effect diagram, a fault tree diagram. So if we go one way, so let's imagine there is an issue with safety, well-being, engagement. You're going to have accidents, incidents and illness, absenteeism, presenteeism and departures. So absenteeism, where people take time off work. Presenteeism, do you know what that is? This is a big concern of HR. Do you know what presenteeism is? Anyone? Little test for the day. Anyone know what presenteeism is? Overwork syndrome. People mentally absent at work. Yeah, exactly. So this is where people are at work. I know there's a couple of people raising hands. I'm actually going to stop in a minute and take questions. So all of this is building up costs in the business. When people are absent, someone has to cover them. Presenteeism, where people are at work, they're not working to their full potential. And departures, where people leave the business, you have to recruit for new people. All of this is costing money. Okay. And then all these, when people start to talk about the incidents in the business, that is damaging reputation, which stops the company getting future contracts. And downtime, when there are incidents, there is downtime, either because there's not enough people in the business or because there are things that aren't working in the business. So imagine if you were able to put some money against this, some currency. What's the currency in Dubai? Remind me, what's the currency in Dubai? AE dollars, is that right? Dirhams.
Dirham, yeah.
Dirhams, yeah. So imagine we were putting dirhams against all of this. The cost in dirhams of accidents, illness, people being absent, people being at work, but really absent anyway, people leaving the business, damage to reputation and downtime. And then imagine if we're really working hard with everyone else in the business on our people to keep them safe, well, happy and engaged, then we're getting productivity, which is putting dirhams into the business, performance, maybe innovation as well. That's again, pumping dirhams into the business, profile, reputation. So that's going to get you more business. So again, it's pumping money in, and then profit. So more money coming in. So depending on how well you can work on the people, it will affect the money going into the business. So remember right at the beginning, I said, trying to reconcile what you're doing for health, safety and well-being with what the business wants. So on the right-hand side of the screen is what the business wants: productivity, performance, profile and profits. So if you're not doing enough, if your company isn't doing enough, so this is what your management probably realize, but they need to have this in their face, yeah? That when they're not doing enough, when any of this is happening on the left, then money is going out of the business. When you're doing good work for health, safety and well-being, it's money going into the business. Yeah. So in summary, when you focus on the people, accept you can't do it alone, access the other people, tools and stakeholders in your company, demonstrate the benefit of a combined approach, and you can really show that diagram before, and then also be clear on what you bring to the table. So when you approach your friends in HR, communications and operations, what you have in health and safety is some expertise and competence that no one else has. You have the ability to manage people based on risk. So everything we do for compliance, everything we're really good at, can also be applied to health to well-being as well. Okay. So that's the end of my presentation. I can see there's lots coming up in the chat. So I don't know if Syed or Catherine, you want to field some of the questions?
The communication coordinator, Asif, will convey the questions, if any, there in the chat box. Asif, over to you.
Thank you very much, Karen. Indeed, it was a very comprehensive presentation. We have a question from Mr. Saeed Khan. Please describe ISO standard on psychological health and well-being and how to corporates utilize it and put it into the practice.
Okay. So first of all, I'm not an expert in ISO 45003, but it's very similar to ISO. What's the safety one? Is it 18,000? So
It's
it allows
45,001, I think.
45,000,
yeah, 45,001. Yeah, so really it's just an extension. So any company that's already got 45,001 is able to really incorporate well-being into it, integrate it in, and extend health and safety to well-being. So if you already have an ISO standard, 45,001 or 18,000, which I think is the one that came before, you will be able to integrate well-being in that, which is probably a really good place to start, and it falls within your expertise as well.
Thank you. We have one more question. How to promote positive with peer pressure and improve safety behavior?
So we say that again, how to?
How to promote positive safety culture when you have peer pressure?
Ah, okay. Yeah, that is a difficult one. So with peer pressure, I think, first of all, there is a tipping point with groups of people together. So if you can get a certain percentage behaving the right way, it's about 80%, then the rest will follow. So I would be trying to target the people that have the most influence. And if you can convince them, then the others will follow. Another thing really, I think with peer pressure, I think everyone really wants to do the right thing. They just need a nudge. So I would keep asking people just one question: what's the right thing to do here? What is the right thing to do? Because when people are following peer pressure, they're not doing the right thing. They're doing the social thing. That makes sense? They're doing the social thing. So I would use that question: what is the right thing to do? Whenever you see the behavior, say, I see what you're doing here. What is the right thing to do? And they will think about it, because the right thing to do is to look after their families, to look after them, because nobody wants to get hurt. So keep that question up your sleeve.
Thank
Okay?
you. Yeah, thank you. Any good reason why HSC should handle the well-being instead of human resources or HR?
Yeah, that is a really good question, actually. And it's quite a contentious question, I would say, because I know some companies where HR are leading it. Some companies, health and safety, are leading it. I personally believe that it works better as a partnership, because I think health and safety have the expertise in managing compliance and risk, and HR have the expertise in managing people. So I think there is a lot to be gained from partnering, and that's what I would advocate. If a CEO asked me, I would say you need to partnership. Makes it more difficult to know who's owning it, so you still need to have a clear ownership, but it will be good to have a steering committee with both HR and wellbeing. You think about in the times of COVID, when COVID first arrived in the world, a lot of companies set up a steering committee. In fact, this is a really interesting point. So a lot of companies are already working with this cross-company approach with HR, comms and health and safety together to manage things like COVID. I don't know if anyone has a company that has a COVID steering committee. So if you can do it already for COVID, you've already created a test bed to now do it for well-being. Does that make sense?
Yeah, okay. Thank you, Karen. That's it from me. We have a couple of questions, but that I don't think that it is with us. So, Syed, the show is yours. Thank you.
Kevin, once again, thank you very much for coming across again, and expect you again and again. It was really interesting because you managed communicating with the attendees despite you can't see them, but you got the skills which you applied, and it was very interesting. I very rarely reply on the chat box due to managing the whole meeting, but today I did, and I think that's the sign that it was a great event. Apart from this, the committee member from the UAE, thank you very much for your support. The members and the non-members, those are attending, thank you very much for them. Catherine on the background, always facilitating us with these events. So everyone, thank you very much. Before I sign off, please fill the survey. You will receive an email from us. Please feel free to put whatever comments you want, whatever events you want, because it's really encouraging us and giving us a chance to be the best among all the branches. And soon we will have another very exciting event, which will be on 20th August. We did not advertise yet, but we will do it soon. So once again, thank you, Karine. Thank you, everyone, and signing off. Bye-bye.
Thank you for having me. Lovely seeing you. Bye-bye.